Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode number 4 of The Light Leadership Diaries. We're very excited today to have Bame Basetsan as well as Moteo Matsao here to talk about their personal stories, their personal journeys, their leadership brands, their struggles, and just some of the things that they've done to help them achieve and to get to where they've gotten. So make sure that you've got a pen and paper. Make sure that you're here, you're attentive, you've got no distractions, so that you can take in everything that they have to offer.
Let me take this time to shine my light, shine the light, shine the light.
There's something that you said, and Moteo alluded to it early on as well. Winning in corporate, we often think that if I'm achieving what the organization expects me to achieve, or even overachieving, that automatically means I'm ready for a promotion, or I should get promoted.
Yeah.
And if you've been in corporate long enough, you'll know that that's probably the bare minimum
One element of it.
that is required.
Yeah.
In your experience, Moteo, what have you found? When people say to you, Moteo, I'm delivering on my deliverables, I'm achieving everything that the business asked me, but I'm not moving. What are some of the other things that are important to help you,
So sadly, some of them are not about you or are outside your control. Depending on the culture and the size of the organization, I've heard a lot of people that I speak to tell me about having a cheerleader at the top.
Right.
And until you get to the top, you don't understand how important being someone else's cheerleader can be to their career. And, it was a difficult one for me, particularly being such a, I'm not one to bother people. I don't like bothering people.
Mm.
And so I couldn't find that middle ground between asking for help and mentorship and ass kissing.
Right.
Mm.
And I was never going to be caught kissing ass in my life. You know what I mean? And you learn as you grow that actually you're not kissing anybody's ass. Here's somebody who's achieved or gone through what you're going through.
Right.
They're at the top of the organization. If you can help it, they're the people or the person that you spend a lot of time with. Because promotions, as you say, are not completely all about competence.
Absolutely.
It's like getting the job in the first place.
Right.
A lot of people, when you come out of varsity and go for the interviews, you think you got the job because you impressed them.
Absolutely.
No, they actually just liked you. Somebody just liked you. You said something that spoke to them.
Right.
You said, and if you don't have somebody who tells the decision makers that, you don't see Mike a lot here because he's in the trenches.
Yeah.
But I have a drink with Mike every day or every Friday, and this is what he has achieved. This is what he does. This is how he thinks.
Mm.
That is very important, along with your achievements as well. But I always say, at the very least, be the best at what you do.
Right.
Give them no excuse not to give it to you. At the very least.
Powerful. That's powerful. I mean, in my experience, I found exactly what you're saying. You buy into people.
Yeah.
Just like we buy into brands.
Exactly.
We buy into people.
Everything,
And
Mike. You don't go buy a car because you like. You buy a car from a specific place because you like the guy that was selling it or the lady that was selling it. You're not spending hundreds of thousands of rand
Right.
because you're obsessed about this thing
Correct.
that you can actually do without.
Absolutely. You buy into people.
But just to add on to what you're saying, you talk about buying into people. Authenticity is also a very key thing.
Yeah.
Right? So as much as you would buy into what the person is giving, is that person giving it authentically?
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if Mike is showing up because he's more concerned about what my personal brand should be telling, as opposed to being authentic and giving in that particular space, he's going to get caught out.
Absolutely.
So it's a very important thing
Yeah,
to
I
mention
agree
that
with you
too many
fully.
times we're too fixated on, I'm supposed to show up in a particular way.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something funny. Like, I've done 1 or 2 or 3 little photo shoots for corporate.
Yeah.
And I kid you not, in all of them, I was told to sit in a particular way. They told me, put your woman, right? They tell you need to project like this.
Right.
And they tell me that, look, for your pictures to land properly, this is how they should come across.
Mm.
And I'm like, but that is not who I am.
Yeah.
So that authenticity thing is a key thing. And even for young people that are coming through organizations, it's important for you to understand why you're there in the first place. And as you're unraveling your own little journey, be as authentic as you possibly can.
Right.
You
That
know,
is
you
so
don't have to be running for the promotion. It will come to you because you are putting score on the board. You're showing up authentically.
Yeah.
And
I agree, and I think it's great advice for you, the person that's going through the journey.
Right.
yes.
But this opens up a completely other topic, which, in this context, I'll direct to the business leaders out there. What she's really talking about is the true and real meaning of diversity. This is what you mean when you say you want a diverse organization.
Right.
You don't want all the ladies to sit like this.
yes, correct.
Because that's not who they really
No,
are.
100%.
You don't come to it. You don't hire people, and this is the weird thing. When you hire for, I think you see potential, you see different thinking. You hire for all reasons you would write down if I would ask you why you would hire someone. Are diversity driven. You
Right.
want somebody that's going to do something different.
Absolutely.
But as soon as they come in,
You want
them to
box
follow.
them in. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And so that's a huge thing.
Yeah.
And when you come in with a solid upbringing where you are told that Oboso all your life,
All my
at
life.
some point
Yeah.
you believe it, right?
You
Absolutely.
believe it.
And you walk into this place and you're like, no, man,
Come on, man.
this is not how I see it.
Yeah, you do that so.
Kiboso, man,
Yeah,
this is how I see
this
it.
is how I see it.
You know? The
Exactly.
important thing is that person is bringing something to the space that wasn't there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, don't bring them in.
Yeah.
Yes. Correct.
And that's where and I put myself in,
Yeah.
old hats
Yeah.
are going to
Yes.
struggle going forward.
You
With
spoke
these
about
young-
diversity.
Yeah.
I mean, you are the first black female GM
Yeah.
at this, an organization that's been around for many years. You know, I mean, Motel.
Yeah.
Amongst your peers, you're a minority.
Yeah. Sadly.
Sadly.
You know,
Yeah.
and some people talk about it as a burden. Other people talk about it as an opportunity.
Yeah.
To, as lift as you rise, as Wanang Mahalo says.
Yes.
You know, how do you look at it, and what are you doing to try and help other people?
Yeah.
Because you've been through struggles to get there.
Yeah.
It wasn't an easy passage to say because Mattel, you're black, you studied here, therefore there you go.
There
No,
you
it
go.
wasn't.
Still is.
And it won't
Yeah.
be. So what are you doing or trying to do,
Yeah.
to help other people, other females, black females, or people of different backgrounds, to help them get to where you are?
Where it starts for me. It starts with delivering where I am. Right. So I'm now in this position. For me to earn a share of voice, I gotta be able to deliver
Yeah.
in the room, in the boardroom.
Right.
So it starts with a lot of work on myself. You know what I mean? I always say, you help yourself and then with the other hand, you help another. So in order for me to be able to prepare the groundwork to ensure that more people are coming in, I gotta deliver where I am. I cannot leave the position and not impact. I cannot leave the position and not have delivered on whatever it is that I'm working towards. And I guess over and above that, it also sits a lot around when I'm on the table and I'm sitting there, right? My contribution, how authentic is that contribution coming across? It's easy for me just to do what everybody else is doing in that position. What impact am I bringing from a cultural perspective? I am young. They often say I'm a millennial. You know what I mean? You've got all these titles that are attached to you. But in my creativity, in my input, what am I putting on the table that's going to say this person has changed the culture of what this thing is about? And over and above that has opened doors. Personally, I mentor. There are a couple of people that I see. In fact, I have 6 people that I work through the organization. And I do it in a very structured way as well. Because sometimes, we mentor people and then what are you talking about? What is the output of this thing, right? So there's a very structured, very interesting model that I use. And that is how I contribute, because obviously I'm in this space, I'm growing myself, but I'm also bringing people along with me. So that's kind of like, I don't know if I'm answering it. But
I think definitely.
So,
So what she said.
Yeah.
but I think your question is, what are we doing? What do you do to bring others along?
Yeah.
So, Mike, I have struggled with this a lot because there are deliberate things that you do.
Yeah.
So you get together with a group of guys, like I was telling you earlier, and you identify kids in sort of underprivileged circumstances, schools, bright kids. Like one of our foundation things was we choose youngsters who are bright and are doing well, but home is not so cozy,
Right.
especially from a financial point of view. I mean, you can imagine, I'm talking about people who sometimes don't end up going to school because they owe 2,000 Rand school fees. Like, really, is this like 2,000 Rand is the difference between this boy making it or not? And those are the kind of kids. And you look at his report card and he's a straight A student when he's at school.
With that burden.
With that burden. And so you can do those, and I've been involved in a few of those. But a lot of help I find we try and give is unsolicited.
Okay.
And I find that generationally, when I was coming up and till today, first of all, I want to work for people that are better than me, than at what we do. I want to work for human beings that are better than me. And it's not always, so those things don't always align. Sometimes you get a great human being, but can't do the work for Jack, and vice versa. But I think what I then do is I take a little bit and I try and impart it onto those, but it's unsolicited. So sometimes there's a fine line between what you think you are doing by giving and guiding these people. And by the way, it's all deliberate. You may not have written it down, but there's a plan. When you tell a junior person, no, just do this thing, and they do it in their own way, and they come, and you say, great, that is fantastic what you've done. However, did you ever consider that, and that? There's a fine line between them feeling that, oh, you want things done your way,
100%.
versus, oh, snap. There's another perspective, you know, and so I'm so self-conscious now of giving advice and help, because I always feel like a lot of the time the person has the right to say, but I didn't ask your opinion. Like, why are you telling me? You know, and it's a difficult, and it doesn't boil down. It's not restricted to professional lives, even in personal life. Michael and I share a lot of sort of friends in common, social circles, similar social circles. You know, as much as he says I like a good time, I don't get invited to good times. All right, but I'm the guy, I'm the guy when shit is not going well at work. I'm the guy people call.
100%.
I'm the guy people
100%.
call when they want to get divorced.
100%.
I'm the guy people call. So I feel like I'm in agony.
But it's like wisdom
Yeah.
that people spoke about.
Do you understand? And even then, I have to sometimes I have to bite my tongue. Because it's not my place to go to certain sort of areas. So it's a difficult thing when the recipient is not open to what they're receiving as help.
To the feedback.
To the feedback as help. It took me a while to accept that we're not the same. I come from a place of learning. I grew up in environments where it didn't matter how good you were at anything. There was always Michael around the corner who was better. Whether you were good at football, there was 10 guys up the street that were better than you. We play tennis, basketball, everything, you know. But I think the big lesson it's not about just imparting. I was watching this new basketball documentary, or this sports documentary. Who's the coach of the Anyway, he left the team now.
Doc Rivers.
And I took a quote from Doc Rivers' thing and I think I put it up on my social media the other day, where he says, you know, pressure is a privilege.
Yes.
Celebrate that you find yourself under pressure. And the
Yeah.
only time you can be under pressure, to what Bami said, is once you're at that table, deliver. Your name, there's no excuse for mediocrity, guys. Like there's absolutely no excuse. Your failures must never be for lack of trying.
Great.
There must never be for lack of trying. And once you put yourself under that kind of pressure, it becomes easy for others to say, this girl, this boy is a really hard worker. Listen, bro, listen. This is how you should do this next time. I found it easy for me. Do it your own. I've got a magnificent boss right now and he will tell you himself that many people don't like him. But he's happy that he thinks the list of people that like him is longer than the list of people that don't like him.
Right.
And one of the things he does really well is he never assumes you don't know what he's going to tell you.
Yeah.
So he'll say to me, listen, unless you've got when we negotiate such things, I usually take this route because I find then it makes it better for me to land the next point and.
Yeah.
And the way he'll say it, and then he'll leave it to you to decide whether his way or your way
Got you.
works. But really, you know that his way is better. You walk away from it, you know he's better.
Yeah.
It's better. So I think to answer your short answer to your question is we have to do what you guys are doing to bring others along.
Yeah.
It's lonely at the top, guys.
Yeah.
It's cold at the top.
Yeah.
Not that I'm at the top, but on your way there, you feel it already.
Yeah.
But the point is, you need to do this. You need to help people. But I also feel like people need to be receptive. The dynamics have changed now. You have to be PC with people, and
Right.
if they didn't ask your help, they didn't ask your help.
Yeah.
Your job is then to mark them on that piece of paper
Yes.
that says, are they doing what they're supposed to or not? Sure.
And for you?
For me,
In terms of, I mean, just from your perspective in terms of in the space of lifting as you rise and driving diversity, what has been your approach that you found?
I think for me, you have to be deliberate.
Yeah.
It won't just happen.
Yeah.
And it's got to be authentic to who you are at your core. If you like to see people win, then you will do it naturally.
Yeah.
Like Mateo says, you'll do it whether people ask you or they don't ask you,
don't.
but you'll do it. And how they take it is actually, you've given the information, you move on. You know? Because I often feel like it is our duty to do it. You know, just like other people, we are where we are because there was one or two people that believed in you. They saw something at a time that you saw nothing. And they said, you know, I'm going to back this guy. Irrespective of what my peers say, but I'm going to back him. And I'm eternally grateful for those people in my life in different organizations. And I have to be that person as well for others. Otherwise, if I'm not, who's going to be that person for them? You know, Bami spoke about, you know, mentor, mentee, and he spoke about, you know, how you prepare. What would you say? Yeah, you're very structured in that. What would you say to somebody who wants you to mentor them? Because often I find that mentees will come and say, "Hi, Taban, you know, I've seen your journey. I've seen what you've done. Please, you know, can you mentor me?" And then when they rock up, they just expect you to just offload.
Yes.
So what would you say? And Taban, I want you to, you know, also to come in onto this point.
Yeah.
What would you say to those mentees?
And it happens, right?
Yeah.
So people just see you and they think they can identify. I want Michael to mentor me.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, for me, how I've dealt with it is that, first of all, when I look at the whole mentorship journey with somebody, it's a very personal journey.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, mentorship is not a tick box exercise. It's something that you should only be able to walk into it when you truly feel that I'm connected to this person and I can actually make a difference in this person's life. So for me, I never just take it on.
Yeah.
I never just say, okay, let's go, session 1, we're moving along. I actually spend time with you. You know, tell me about yourself. Tell me, what do you want? Tell me why you're here. You know, where do you want to see yourself? I have to first connect with you. And there are instances where I have said to people, look, I think, you know, I can guide, but I cannot, you know what I mean? I cannot take you on this because it needs to be a connection piece. Remember now, when I mentor, it's not just me imparting, it's also me absorbing.
Right.
I'm learning from the people that I'm also mentoring.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a personal piece for me, and that's exactly how I've dealt with it. You know, there needs to be an authentic connection with the person that I'm mentoring. And by the way, it's not like I'm starting now, end of fiscal year, I'm going to hand you over to the next person.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's a lifelong thing. These people are going to be in your life for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, and it takes a lot of. I find that at the end of the day, you know, so definitely it's something that I tread very carefully on. You know, there needs to be a connection between us, and it's stuff and that connection is built over time, spending time, right? And then we pick up from there. Yeah.
Do you want to add to that?
Yeah, but let's.
No,
okay.
yeah.
No, I couldn't agree with her more. You know, one of the things that we identified in our many years ago mentor mentee type setup was, like she said, there needs to be some sort of rapport at some level. But most importantly, I think there's still a lot of work to be done, and I'm glad you guys are doing what you're doing. As I feel, and maybe I was off the bus for a while, but I feel like there's still a lot of work to be done in understanding what mentorship means.
I agree.
All the guys that mentor me,
Mm.
like I said to you earlier, they're a lot older.
Yeah.
But I'm the guy that runs that relationship.
Yes.
I'm the guy who calls
Mm.
and says to one Mr. So-and-so, listen, dog, I haven't seen you in 6 months.
Mm.
Ownership.
I would like to have a drink.
Yeah.
I'm the guy who goes, and you'll find you'll have different lighthouses for different issues.
Right.
you know who
Yeah.
to go
Yeah,
to
for what? Yeah.
And so for me, I think there's a lot of work to be done around what the difference between someone who advises you and a mentor. And who's responsible for that relationship?
Mhm.
It's certainly not the mentor,
Correct.
Mhm.
because they're not sitting. Yes, some mentors are really good and they have time and maybe they're retired, so every now and again they'll pick up and say, "Hey, I haven't seen you in 6 months. What's going on?" You know, but it's really you, the mentee, the person that's in this constant evolution.
Yeah.
That needs to be identifying the gaps that
Yeah.
needs to be filled as you go along. And so you're the one that must pick up the phone,
Right.
drive the
And
relationship.
before you ask someone to mentor you,
Yeah.
find out why.
Why?
Ubata.
No, actually, they ask you. Not the ones that run. They ask you why. Why do you want me to mentor you?
Mm.
I'll get back to you because you see so and so. You're like, this guy's done great things,
Yeah.
and then you get there, and he says, why me? He's
Why?
like,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah.
What value can I add to your life?
Yes.
You know,
Mm.
I'm a swimming coach. You're a corporate executive.
Mm.
Yeah.
What value?
When is it
Yeah.
very-
you know.
Yeah.
And then you need to have thought about those things
Yeah.
as a mentee, or as a
As a
person
mentee.
looking for
Yeah.
a mentor.
So I think I completely agree with that. I think there's a lot of, because of how hierarchy society has been, there's an element of the elder has always been the one who leads the mentorship relationship. And there's always an expectation that the mentor is older,
Yeah,
As well.
exactly.
which is not always the case
Mm.
as well.
And shouldn't.
And for me, my approach to it is always, and before rapport and all of that, when they people come to me and ask me, the first thing I ask them is, what do you want? So what do you want? You know? And then when we have the rapport, I still ask the same question. And the reason I ask it is because a lot of people derive their dreams and their vision based on what is already there.
Yeah.
So I will come in, I will become an assistant brand manager, become a brand manager, become a marketing manager, become a director, and my question is always around, what do you want to do with your life?
Right.
And then that determines the sort of conversations that we're gonna have. Because I don't believe in the reality. And I've always said this to Michael, I don't believe in the reality because your role may not be defined today.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It may come up in the future.
Right.
Years ago, digital marketing managers were not there.
Yeah.
Now they're there.
Yeah.
You know? So that's always my approach. And the second piece is always around, they need to understand that it's a two-way thing. So I will learn as them.
As well.
And the last piece is around, they need to be open to the fact that I'm not going to tell them what they want to hear,
Yeah.
right? Because a lot of people want you to tell. So
To reaffirm.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So someone will come to me like in your case, you will come to me and say, I've been here for 4 years and I'm not being promoted, but all my peers are being promoted and other people.
And I'm delivering.
And I'm delivering. And my answer is not going to be, oh, shame, you know? This is so wrong. They're
Yeah.
doing you so wrong.
Yeah.
My question is going to be, what do you think your role has been in that?
Yeah.
Do you honestly believe, if you assess yourself versus those peers,
Yeah.
that you are at the same level as them? And 9 times out of 10, the peers have done something, one or two things different to
Yeah.
you. Either they communicate better,
Yeah.
either they are more visible in how they carry themselves, either they are open to doing more things, which makes them even more visible, and you are just focused on
Focus
your
on
work.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and so they have to be receptive to the fact that I'm not going to tell them what they want to hear.
Yeah.
And so that's always been my approach. And then the rapport comes in and all of that. And then they lead it. You know, I've had people where I've gone, geez, they've just made these wrong decisions. But you know, it's not my place to.
Yeah.
So I will keep hinting, what are you doing? That's what I was saying. You know, like, what are you doing? What are you doing with your life? What are you doing? What's happening? You know, and then when they're ready, they'll come to me and say, look, I think I need to have a conversation with you, and then we'll have a conversation.
Right.
You touched on visibility.
Oh, guys.
And that is something that a lot of people get that feedback about.
Yeah.
You're not visible enough.
Guys.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, you're doing a great job. We're happy with your productivity. We're happy but you're not visible.
Yeah.
Mike, you have no idea. You're touching me on my studio here.
But it's a fact.
And it's a real thing.
It's a real thing.
But when you get that
get
feedback,
Yeah.
you know, it'll upset you because you're like, but hey, I'm not here to be visible. I'm here to do
Yes.
this job.
Exactly.
You pay me to do this. And I'm doing it, and I'm not only am I doing it, but I'm exceeding.
Yeah.
But I mean, I heard a quote from Les Brown before you start, where he spoke about, you know, it's, you know, we always talk about, you know, it's about who you know, right? And his quote is, it's about who you know, but also what they know about you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So it's not
Yes.
just
That's why I said
how-
cheerleader.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll let you.
Visibility. I don't know. I was just gonna say to Mike, you know, this visibility thing, especially for women as well.
Yeah.
I find that, you know, I've heard it quite a few times, but you're not visible enough.
Right.
You know, you've got the platform. Why can't we see you?
Yes.
You know? But just going back to what Tabani was saying about if I'm understanding you correctly, it's about understanding as well who are your influencers and who are your detractors.
Correct.
You gotta understand that because
Correct.
visibility also lies there,
Correct.
right? So I gotta have line of sight of my detractors,
Yes.
and I gotta understand how I'm impacting and being visible in that space, because in spaces where I'm not there and my face comes up, they're gonna talk to that
Absolutely.
as much as what my influencers are.
Right.
What are they gonna say?
Right.
I mean, so you spoke about
Yeah.
cheerleaders.
Cheerleader.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
used to have a cheerleader.
Yeah.
Listen, that is the most, for my personal life, that is the most challenging thing.
Yeah.
And this is my philosophy. So you know how they say adversity breeds philosophers.
Yes.
I'm a philosopher in this one because it's something I've struggled. Even though I was an above average marketer, I couldn't market my damn self
Right.
enough in the organization.
Right.
Yeah.
And where does that come from? It comes from, for me, and I suspect for most of us here, it comes from our upbringing and background.
Mhm.
You are always taught that it's not me who did this, it's we.
Mm.
We achieved this. You and your brothers and your sisters achieved this. You did well. You go play sports in the netball team, you score 50 points. It wasn't you.
To
was
the
a good
team.
team
effort. It was the
It's a
team.
team effort.
Yeah.
I promise, and this is
Oh,
where I'm going to call a spade a spade.
Mm.
Go and interview today a 25-year-old white male and white female, and do the same for black and black. And you say that famous question. So, in your current job or your previous job, what were your achievements? All the black people will say, "Yeah, we achieved this, we did this,"
Correct.
and I always say, "No, I don't say we."
You. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do that deliberately because
Yeah.
it's an uncomfortable thing for us to do.
Right.
We
Yeah.
don't know how to speak I.
Mm.
And that is part of the root of the problem, because it means that even when you achieve, you want to give other people credit,
Right.
take other people with you.
Yes.
Mm.
It's fine, but be very careful about when and how to do it.
Mm.
It gets even more difficult, guys, when you're at a level where your stakeholders are not in the business. So you're dealing with shareholders
Mhm.
who've got 101 other problems.
Yes.
Correct.
You are the least of their problems.
Mm.
And here you are mumbling off about
We.
what we are going to try and do.
Mm.
Chief, I put you there because I want you to fix this thing.
Right.
And so there's a whoever opens that school is going to make a hell of a personal branding
100%.
and visibility
Yes.
courses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How to be visible without being brash, without being arrogant, without
Yeah.
being irritating. How to be visible. And,
Yeah.
and please, let's not confuse visibility with loud.
Yes.
you know.
Mm.
So I don't know. I don't have an answer to that one.
Yeah.
But now that you raised it, I remember it's the biggest problem.
Right.
But isn't it it's a culture?
It's a culture
It is.
thing. That's what I'm saying.
Right?
We always
Yeah.
It's a culture piece. You're raised to.
True.
The other day, there were little boys playing outside the house, right, with the ball, and they kicked the ball into our yard, right? So we are at the back, and my daughter they knock at the door. My daughter walks to the door. She opens the door. We just moved into this neighborhood. We don't know these people.
Mm.
The little boy said, "Hi, hi, my daughter's like, how are you? Fine, thank you. My ball fell into your yard and he just walked through. And my daughter's like, Mom, he just walked right past me
Through the house.
through the house
Go and get the
to
ball.
the back to go get his ball. You know, and
Yeah.
Tabo and I were talking about it at home that look at that confidence, that
Absolutely.
Yeah.
level of I'm here
At his
to
age.
get the ball.
Yeah.
Mm.
This boy is
Focused.
give or take 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, focus. I'm going there to get the ball.
Yes.
Me, had it been me,
Mm.
I would have knocked on the door and I would have said, Dumela ma,
Mhm.
the guy, everything, Dina la ka ki,
Mm.
ke tswa ko kae kae, eh.
Mhm.
Ke nahana hore my ball has fallen. Can I go through?
Mm.
Thank you. And then
Or
I
can
go.
you fetch it
Oh,
from
yeah,
here?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, can you fetch it
Yeah.
for me? I think it's in the
I think it's-
corner.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
it's a culture piece. It's just how
It's-
it's
it's-
raised, right?
A few years ago, I was at McDonald's.
Yeah.
So one of the things you learn as a marketer, and I don't know if you guys have picked it, is you learn to read people.
Yeah.
So I used to go to shopping malls and sit there just to watch people.
Yeah.
So I was at McDonald's a few years ago, and there were two little kids. You know, McDonald's has these bouncing ball
Correct.
areas, these
Yeah.
pits. There was a black kid and a white kid. The white kid was probably 3 years old. The black kid was probably 5, 6,
Mm.
older. And first of all, it was a struggle for the black kid to say to his parents who were sitting next to him, I want to go jump. Because all the other kids were jumping.
Correct.
Eventually, he mustered up the
The
courage.
confidence.
He didn't ask, he walked away, but strategically, slowly,
Yeah.
one step at a time. And then he gets in there, he walks into the pit, plays with the ball. And then this 3-year-old terrorist comes, stands on the entrance, that's a little, and does a backflip. And he screams, Dad, 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 watch. Does another flip and flips and flips. And I see now these parents, these black parents are watching their kid now. And he stands now. Now remember, he's
So
slightly
he wants
older
to
than
do
them.
it. Yes,
He stands on the
Yes.
thing to want to do
the
flips
same
and
thing.
impress them. The mom goes, hey, hey, hey. How is your kid supposed to grow and explore?
So protective.
If you're protected.
Oh, man.
And I mean, we used to joke about it with my friend Bukati that it starts with this thing of putting children at the back.
Correct.
Until the whole, I think the view of the world is the back of your head.
Correct.
Yeah.
White kids sit here and they look at the
They see
world and
everything.
they see everything. We joke about it,
Yeah.
but I wonder if there's no truth in those things.
I think there is. It's just, I mean, for viewers, because we've been asked this question in terms of, so what do I do? How do I build up my presence? You know, any
hard.
tips
Sure.
Any
I'm gonna let you
pointers
go on that one.
that you may?
Yeah, I
Two,
think
three things.
Yeah.
maybe.
I think the first one is unless you feel uncomfortable doing it, you're
Yeah.
not doing it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So because it doesn't come naturally,
Yeah.
find that opportunity, whether it's in a presentation,
Mm.
whether it's in a, I don't know, a project team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Find that opportunity of doing that thing that you feel you should do, but your gut says don't,
Yeah.
because you don't want to be viewed as too brash and too ambitious.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with being ambitious.
Mhm.
Yeah.
As long as it's packaged properly,
Mm.
there's nothing wrong with being ambitious. So I would say, as long as you're not about to insult somebody,
Mm.
if it feels uncomfortable, every now and again, do it.
Mm.
Let's see what happens.
Mm.
Yeah.
Love that.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's growth, right? That's the
Yeah.
whole definition of growth.
Yeah.
I think for me, Tawana, I'd say as we summarize the show, we run out of time.
Mhm.
I'd say, in any forum that you're in, make an impact.
Yes.
You can't make an impact on every single topic that's being spoken about. So talk about the one thing that resonates with you and make an impact on that. Leave your mark.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we go to meetings
Yeah.
and we sit and we listen and we
Yeah.
move. And then you ask yourself, in this last hour, what value did I add
Yeah.
to this conversation?
Correct.
Mm.
And more times than not, if you leave that room and you didn't add value, that's an opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an
Yeah.
opportunity.
But in closing, I guess for you, right? I know you
No,
said closing.
I summarize a lot, so he knows I'm
Yeah,
not
no,
summarizing.
Tawana, sorry,
Oh,
sorry, you're bringing-
Yeah.
you're bringing it all
Can I-
together.
Can I really summarize? In getting to that space, when I'm like, I think it's also important to recognize that take the time to understand who you are. Because when you're in that room and you're uncomfortable and you're about to say something, but you don't know who you are,
And you can't stand for
you
it.
can't
if
stand
say
for it.
With
You say
conviction.
it with conviction.
Yeah.
So take the time. So to your 18-year-old, to your 21-year-old, take the time to understand who you are. And it's a journey piece. You never get there. You're consistently learning, you're consistently
Evolving.
peeling the onion. But take the time to recognize, instead of being too excited about taking the selfie, understand what the soul looks like. Take the time to understand that piece. And it will put you in an uncomfortable space.
Yeah.
Because you might need to let go of certain friends. You might need to let go of certain habits. You might need to start doing new things. But for you to get to that room, to be able to say something, who are you? You gotta do the work. You gotta do the work. Yeah.
As a summarizer, I think it's crazy how a lot of the topics we've spoken about different things, but there are similar sort of themes that are coming through. The one I liked in the beginning was around street cred comes from trying. If you don't try, then no one will know about you. People like people who try. Be there and be counted. Try to do something that's never been done. And leave very little to chance. And then the other one is around forget what other people are doing, but pick up what's useful to you as an individual. Always put yourself in spaces where you're constantly being challenged, because that's how you grow.
Pressure.
And from a corporate, you spoke about your struggle between ass-kissing and mentorship, but it's about having a cheerleader, but you need to have the achievements. So you have to already be delivering the basics so that people can buy into you because you have substance. And then the other piece is around take the time to know who you are, and then in any forum that you are in, make sure that you make an impact.
Beautiful.
And I think with that we'll close.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of episode number 4 of The Light. We just want to thank our guests, Bame Basetsane, as well as Motheo Matsao, for their invaluable contribution to these discussions that we've had today on visibility, on personal brand, on growth, on dealing with setbacks, and knowing very well that even if you haven't had many right now, you're still gonna encounter a lot in the future.
Right.
But it's all about being resilient, knowing exactly who you are, and you're ready for it. You're as prepared as you'll ever be.
Yeah.
So just make sure that you believe in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself, who's going to believe in you?
Yeah.
So we just want to say thank you to everyone,
Thanks.
and I really hope that as the viewers, that you can really take in and impart. And if you've loved the content, that you can talk about this content with your peers, your friends, your family, your colleagues, etc. So otherwise, it's a wrap for today. Thank you for watching. So thank you for tuning in to episode 4 of The Light Leadership Diaries. So now that we have your attention, I think it's really important, if you really enjoyed today's session, that you subscribe. Make sure that you log on, subscribe to the content. Tabani, what else must they do?
Ensure that you click the bell notification so that you get confirmation every time we load a new episode.
And then once you do that, make sure that you like the comments, or rather like the content, comment on the content, especially if it feels like it's going to really benefit you in terms of growing yourself in your personal capacity or even in your professional capacity.
And if you have any sort of other information or other topics that you'd like us to discuss, please share in your comments below.
Thank you.
Let me take this time